All right, you guys, I'm excited for this week. If you follow me on Insta, you will see that I interviewed him, and then I also had him do a short video for me around in November for it, and that freaking video went like crazy ass viral. I think it's almost got like 20,000 views on it. Anyway, besides the fact, I have Greg on with me and Delancey today. And you guys, I went to high school with him. I interviewed him before. He's amazing. His artwork, he's got some pretty dope things that are in store right now that he's doing. And I think it's so freaking rad to see people's just like excel in what they're so good at. So we have Greg on. I'm excited for Delancey to hear his story, and he's gonna just go ahead and share. So I'll turn the time over to you. So go ahead, Greg.
Right. Well, so first of all, thanks for having me on here. This is awesome, you guys.
Thanks for coming on.
So my story is pretty unique in the fact that I've been able to have like the whole full circle of the adoption process happen to me. One of the things that has been really cool in my life is now I am in contact with both my birth mom and my adopted mom. Well, obviously my adopted mom, but when I was first adopted, so my parents couldn't have children of their own, and my mom started telling the story of when I was like probably 3, 4, like when I was old enough for bedtime stories. She told me a story of when I was adopted. So that's how I learned, was from the very beginning, was like that was my bedtime story. Was they would come tell me the story of the day that they went to pick me up at the hospital, and how much they wanted kids and how they had tried for so long but couldn't. And so then they made it so it was a beautiful story. So I never felt like I was second choice. It was always like, we wanted kids so badly, and we tried every way we could. And then we went this route through adoption, and we were able to get you. And so it's super cool that like from a very early age, that's what.
And I want to jump in real quick, just because we on another podcast, sorry, and we have people like ask us like, when are you supposed to tell your kid you're adopted? So it flows in perfectly with it, because we're talking about as soon as they can know, you tell them. Don't wait until they're older, because that's when people have trust issues. So I love that your mom did that. Love. Okay,
well, I'm so sorry. I'm going to piggyback off of this too. I'm so sorry. We're both cutting you off.
Oh no, you're good. I like it.
But I love that you said it was your bedtime story, because I actually had somebody this past weekend. I was actually sharing my story with them and telling them that I was always told it was age appropriate, in an age appropriate way. Mm-hmm. But I can't remember like pinpoint exactly how they did it. It was just kind of like, I just always knew. So I just assumed it's like throughout my entire life. But you knowing that it was put in a bedtime story, like that's beautiful. Like I really think like everybody should take cues from that, because that's a great way to tell that. Okay, you can go. Sorry, go ahead.
Good. No, I loved having that as my bedtime story, because it made me feel like I felt unique and special. I didn't feel like I was like chosen last for kickball type feeling, like right, yeah. It was literally, cool. Like, this is really neat that this is how I came to be in this family, and how, so it was really cool how that was my bedtime story. And so about 5 years after I was born was when we adopted my little sister. My mom had a hysterectomy. I want to say it was a few years after I was born, but so she had a hysterectomy, and so we adopted my sister from another family up in Logan, Utah. And so we grew up both knowing and understanding that we were adopted. And then you flash forward to probably like high school was when the first time I started getting questions from others about like, so have you ever wanted to meet your birth mom or find your birth mom? I never really, I knew she was out there, but I never really like thought about it, about meeting her, I guess. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was something that was kind of the seed that was planted to think about it. I'm not really ready at 18, I don't think, just because, I don't know, like life, I wasn't anywhere in life. And I don't think it was necessarily that I wanted to be, but I wanted to be a little bit more, I guess, like established and older when I met her.
I think we can both relate on that. I'm not even kidding you.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely, we
stories.
can.
And I'm so grateful that I did too. Like,
Yes.
so I was adopted through LDS social services back in the day, and they used to have I guess like not necessarily like a registry, but a way that you could submit your information. But then it was like a two-way. I think that like if my birth mom wanted to contact me or get in contact, she had to also fill out something. And so then when those two, that was when you could connect.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that was my understanding. And so when I was married for a few years, and while I was married, it was a really cool experience there too, because I also had another adoption story there, because my ex-wife, she placed a baby for adoption before we met. And it was really interesting to see that side of it, to see the birth mom side, to see what she's going through, to see how she's constantly thinking of her child. And you know, it's cool that it's open adoption, because it means that she was able to, every now and again, we would go be able in special circumstances to visit her daughter and to like see the family. And so that was really cool. I saw that side, and that really opened up that thought process for me to be like, okay, yeah, I think I want to chase and see who my birth mom is, find out more about myself. And right as I think we were going to like go through LDS social services, and that's when they closed down, was that exact year. So it kind of got postponed.
Clancy, do you know what that is? Really quick. Do you know what that is? So it's like an adoption agency through our church. Yeah, through the church.
That's what I was. Okay, that's what I was figuring, and that's what I was like just wrapping my head around. I figured it was very similar to Mercy Ministries, which is a Christian adoption agency type deal. So that's just what I was rolling with. He kept saying LDS, and I'm like, obviously that's what that means. But then he said like shut down, and I was like, really? Didn't know that could happen. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
So they shut down. You're good. They shut down, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I didn't know what to do. I was just kind of like, all right, well, plus my divorce happened shortly after that time, and I was kind of like, okay, well, we'll see what happens from here. And then it wasn't until I was I think it was 2017, 2018, around there. I was traveling for work, and it just so happened, it was nuts. I've had so many different adoption like circumstances and not opportunities, because it sounds weird, but like situations where, so on my team, we were like 9 of us, maybe more, but there was 5 of us out of that team that were all adopted, like different ages, different like backgrounds, different everything. And it was so crazy. We'd each talk about it and tell our stories. And so it basically like pushed me in the direction of doing one of those 23andMe and the Ancestry, the DNA tests and stuff. I was like, I have no idea where I'm from. I had very little information to back it up. Back in those days, back in the 80s, with the closed adoption, like there was such little information. Like I went through, and there's nothing. Like there's just such vagueness, and like I knew that my birth father had like some Spanish descent. That was about it. I knew that my birth mom was white, came from Europe descent. So that was basically it, all that I knew. So I did these 23andMe and the Ancestry kits, and they both came back with pretty similar results between the two of them. And with that, you're able to see like who you're connected to on your family tree or whatever. So others who have done it, and I think like a year went by, but I noticed there was a match that I had that was with this woman who she was older, and but it said we were basically like first cousins, I think is what it like says on there, like first cousins or closer is what it says. So she reached out to me first, actually, and she wanted to know more about me. She was very interested in how we were related and how we're connected through our DNA and everything. And so we got talking a little bit more. I told her a little bit about where I was from, where I got raised, and And then she asked my birthday and stuff, and then she asked if I was adopted and things. And so it just like, it was, she kind of, I think she suspected.
She knew.
And so she just
Yeah.
kept asking questions to
Mhm.
be like, okay, this is crazy. So then, yeah, it turned out that was my biological grandmother. So we were
I forgot
conversing
that.
back and forth. Yeah, is that cool? And all of a sudden, like, it's like, this is my grandma. And then through her Facebook and other Instagram, other social media, I was able to like look at family photos that she had of like her daughters and some sons, and I was like, oh my god, like any one of those could be my birth mom. Like I was trying to like narrow down, okay, so she looks a little bit too young, she looks a bit older, so it could be like these two. And yeah, as it turned out, it was the birth mom was the one that I guessed. I'm like, I think it's
That's
her.
crazy.
I feel like it's her. So anyways, yeah, so I met my biological grandmother, and it was crazy just to meet and embrace and talk. And then through her, she introduced me to my birth mother. She got me in contact with her, and the first time that my birth mom and I talked was on the phone, and we talked for 4 hours. Like we were both super nervous, and we were both just like, I don't know how the other one is. And I've seen like things about them, but I don't know. I don't know
Right.
how this is gonna
Right,
go.
yeah.
This could turn super emotional. And it went just as positive as could be. We were laughing our butts off. We were like swapping jokes and stories, and we were telling all sorts of things. We were emotional, and we were, sharing heart to heart things like immediately right off the bat. And it was really, really cool. It's one of my favorite memories of like the first time we talked. And then we talked about how I went back to school a couple years ago to finish an art degree. And as I was finishing school, that was actually my last semester that I had talked to her. And I think 2020 screwed everything up.
Yeah,
It really
yeah.
did. It really did.
I know. I think it was 2020. It was like February of 2020 when we talked. I told her that was my final semester. I was graduating at the end of that. And because of 2020, graduation got postponed till the ceremony was like September or August or something like that. And so she told me she was going to be in town. She's going to be visiting. And it turns out I have 3 half sisters. And so 2 of them were living in Utah, down in Riverton kind of area, Harriman, Daybreak, around there. And so she was visiting them, and I was like, this is perfect timing. Like this was nuts. So she was able to come to my graduation. And that's how we met. I drove up to Ogden about 2-3 hours maybe early. Might have been earlier. And yeah, we just met, and yeah, we just talked and talked and talked and embraced. And then my adopted family, they showed up and they met her. And so it was a really like amazing situation where my adopted parents were able to meet her and sit with her up in the stadium. And then my sister was there too. And yeah, they all got to just meet and talk, unite. And then she was there for like another month and a half, 2 months maybe. And so yeah, I spent the rest of those few weeks just going down, visiting her, meeting my 2 of my 3 half sisters, and hanging out. And it's nuts how many uncanny ties there are to California and to Utah as well too. So Melina, I don't know if I used to joke in high school. I used to joke that like, because I've always loved California since I was a kid. My dad grew up there, and so I used to joke and say like, oh yeah, I'm not from California, but I was conceived in California. That's why.
I didn't know that.
And it turns out I was conceived in California.
That's hilarious. That's so funny.
And my birth mom, she still lives there. She lives in Fresno with her husband, and one of my half sisters lives out there as well. And it's just nuts. So
cool.
I went out there to visit her for Mother's Day last year, and got to see her house and see her and hang out for a little bit, which was super cool for Mother's Day. But
That's so cool.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
we've been in touch ever since. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I know last time we talked, there was like some about your bio dad. Like, is there any more that has unfolded with that? Because last time we talked, I feel like everything was kind of pretty fresh.
Yeah. So I don't know much about him. I keep finding out a little bit more and more. To back up, my birth mom and he were in high school when they met and were dating, and they were high school sweethearts and lovers, and so like lovers makes it sound like they were.
I was about to say.
I mean, clearly, because otherwise, how would I be here? They were lovers.
They were lovers.
And biology works. So yeah, she and him had a hard breakup when I was when she found out that I was, or that she was pregnant, that I was in her belly. And so yeah, so like he had, I think from what I was told, my birth father's father lived in like Illinois, and he was amazing at baseball, and he was like getting scouted in high school, and he was like just an all-star. And then unfortunately, because of just the whole situation and everything, and plus I think his mom and his stepdad, I want to say, I'm not entirely 100% certain on this, but I do know that he did have to move back. So he moved back to Illinois with his mom, and so they separated, and wasn't like it was their choice type of a thing. It was more like all right, like this is the reality. And then yeah, so yeah, it was so heartbreaking that she tried, like they wrote each other for a while, and then he came back to California for school, for college, and I can't remember, it was somewhere, I think he was in San Diego, and they met up one time. But yeah, and like once they met up, it was kind of a realization like, oh yeah, you and I have grown a lot since we last met and dated and whatnot, and like we've both grown different directions and stuff. And so it's kind of a good closure, but I know that she still holds that relationship dear to her heart. And like obviously the adoption was, I mean, she was 18, 19, and that's a tough spot to be in when you don't really have that kind of control over being told you have to place this for adoption. And yeah, so I don't know a ton about my birth father, but I'm learning more as we get closer and get more comfortable. And I think I'm going to continue to find out more. And I'm just going to let things unfold. And eventually I'm sure we'll find out.
Have you made contact with him, or is this all just everything that's coming from your birth mom?
Yeah, it's everything coming from my birth mom. So I haven't made contact with him or anything yet, but I want to.
So have you, like my internet was being ridiculous and like kind of cut out a little bit. Do you have like his name?
Yeah,
his name's, okay, you do. Okay.
Yeah, his name's Mike. That's all I know. So I'm just learning more and more as time unfolds, and I'm sure she would tell me, but I also feel like I want to grow close with her too, and like it'll come out as it unfolds. But it's really cool though. I should have had them ready. I have photos of him, which was super cool. So she kept photos back from when they were in high school, and it's kind of crazy, like to see, because like you guys get this where you see other families and they have like these facial like features that they all align, and you're like, oh yeah, you're all siblings, like yes,
right.
And not ever having that, I've never looked at somebody and been like, oh, my features come from you, I can see where this is at, right. And so that was one of the coolest things, was seeing him and being like, holy crap, that is like that's like me. Wow, so it was pretty wild. Let's see if I can find it. But
I love that crazy. I love that she has those photos, because like that's what my bio mom did for me, is that she had photos, letters. I mean, unfortunately, my bio dad passed away back in '86. So, but she kept working through it. Really did that, working through it. But she had everything. So that same thing that you had, when I look at his pictures, I'm like, oh my God, I have his hair. I have his mouth. Like there's no denying
Yeah.
like that I came from his genetics. Oh my gosh. Like, and you're absolutely right. Like you can't, I personally never realized how special that was to be able to look at somebody and go, I have your eyes.
Exactly.
Or I have your like not even raised with them. Like I have your mannerisms. Like
Yeah.
how is this possible that
that still blows
do
my
things
mind
the
anytime
same
I talk
way?
to my birth family and like my brothers make a face. I'm like, holy shit. Like I've never been around you, but I do that all the time. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Dude,
It's so weird.
So strange. My younger sister, who's the closest in age to me, she and I are so similar. I did not think that was possible to be that much like somebody that you were only genetically linked to. You've never been raised together, but you're pretty much the same person. Right? It's crazy.
And like the little things too, right? Like the little nuances of like anything from little actions they make or like faces, or it's just, it was nuts. And I've been super close with two of my half sisters that when they were living out here, one of them's married and the other one, they were both going to school, and they're, because of 2020 or because of Corona, they had to do their school online. So they just ended up moving in together and like having a party all the time, basically, because they're just so close. But we would hang out quite a bit. And when we were hanging out, I'd be like watching them, and they just had these like things they would do that I'm like, oh my God, I do that too. Like it was crazy. Here's it. Okay, so I have a photo of those two half sisters and my birth mom and our cheek structure. That's where it hits, is like all of us have the same cheeks.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Like there's
okay,
no
for those
denying
listening, you can't see this, but go over to YouTube and you can watch it and you can see it.
You definitely need to see this because there's no denying this.
Look how cute they are. And that's your bio mom, right? With the glasses on your head.
Yeah.
She's adorable.
They're the cutest. I have had so much fun getting to know them over the past few years.
Okay, so you're the only boy, I'm guessing.
I am.
With her.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it was funny too, because like she told me stories of like, she didn't tell the daughters, because like I think that's a whole other area that probably needs to be explored and stuff, is how and when, if you're the mom, the birth mom, when is it right that when you have other kids, like when are they the right age to say, hey, when I was younger,
did yours, Delancey? Because mine didn't. My bio
mine didn't. Mine didn't until I reached out to her. Mine did not. She just didn't address it. Because I mean, I don't want to speak for her, but I just assume it was like, I don't know if you're gonna come around, so let's not open the box if we don't have to. I guess I don't know. I mean, like I don't want to. Like I said, I don't want to speak for her, but I mean, 2 out of the 3 of them were like, one was like, okay, the other one was like, yes. And then the third one was like, what does she want?
That's exactly how all my siblings were. They're like, who are you? You're this crazy trick from America trying to contact us in Colombia. Like, yep.
I was gonna say, no. Yeah, essentially mine was like, she's like, what does she want? Why is she coming around now? And it's like, that's a valid question. But how did your younger sisters respond? Because like ours had kind of like some interesting responses.
Yeah, so they're both, I mean, a little bit of drama. The younger sister of my birth mom, she was the one who, she told the nieces, she told my half sisters. Yeah, so my birth mom was like, what? No, like that. So it caused some big rifts between the fans.
Hold on. Question, just to clarify.
Yes.
Just to clarify this, because I want to make sure I'm on the same page. So she sat down your younger half sisters and was like, hey, by the way, like essentially, hey, by the way, you have a brother, he's reached out, blah, 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 blah. And then your younger sister went and ran off and told other members of the family.
That weren't her
yeah.
kids, right? It was the nieces and nephews.
It was the nieces and nephews.
Yeah, so it's my aunt. I'm trying to think of all the family. So yeah, it would be my aunt who told my sisters, my half sisters, when she was,
so it wasn't
imagine,
even your bio mom.
So it wasn't even your
No.
bio mom?
No, it
Oh
was
my
when
God.
I think she must have been like, I don't know how she told them, but yeah. So yeah, my biological mother was like, are you effing serious? What? Yeah. So
Okay,
that caused
yeah,
some.
that's
And so the my half sisters, like, they had all sorts of questions, of course, and then but they were also pretty excited because they were always like, when they were younger, like, I wish we had a brother. and my birth mom was always like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
how do you?
I
So
wonder why
I
they kept
know.
it a secret. That's something I hope I can get the freaking muster up energy and be like, yo, why did you keep me a secret? Like I want to know. I want to know. I wholly
Yeah, it's
want to know.
interesting. I think there's levels of like shame and,
I get that. Yeah.
you know,
I get that.
of feeling that, especially I think of my birth mom is when she was just a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
She was 18 when she got pregnant, had me when she was 19. And
Were parents
Yeah.
supportive or no? It doesn't sound like, especially on your bio dad's side, they weren't
I was about to say,
supportive.
bio dad's parents didn't sound very supportive at all.
actually, it was the reverse of that. So
Wait,
yeah,
Really?
it was my birth mom's mom who was a little bit more about like
Placing.
image, and and I think it was a good decision because she could probably see that
Yeah.
my birth mom wasn't ready at that age to be taking on the
Right.
responsibility of this. But yeah, it was also a little bit of shaming involved, which was not
I
good
get-
on my birth mom's side.
Yeah. I get
Yeah.
that because I've learned that in the culture that I come from, they are looked very down upon if they place babies in like the Hispanic culture. Like,
Yeah.
and so I think that's half the reason she kept it a secret, so she wouldn't get shamed. So I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I do too. And it's unfortunate all around, but it's also
Yeah.
fortunate with how it all came
Mhm.
back together.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
really.
right. It may not have been exactly for maybe the best intentions on their side, but it had the best results. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah, it was
That's just-
ultimately the best for sure.
hmm.
Best thing that could have happened. Okay, I'm going to show you some more pictures. I found them.
Yes, please. I love
You ready
pictures.
for this? Okay, so this was nuts. This is my birth father. Like this is him.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's crazy. That's so crazy.
That's you.
Nuts. And then there's a close-up of his face.
So who do you get your curly hair from? Your mom or your bio mom?
I
or
think
your dad?
both of them.
Both of
like
them?
and all my half sisters have more wavy hair. My birth mom has a
Okay.
lot more curly hair.
Okay.
But yeah. So and then there's him.
But
Isn't that
is he in a
crazy?
Mustang like you? What kind of car is he in?
I feel like that is a
wish.
Mustang.
It's an old like Volvo. So he rolled around in that in high school, and
He's got a good smile like you.
He really
Like,
does.
Like he really,
really
does.
I come from good stock, you guys. That's what these pictures confirmed.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's so cool though. I'm glad she had pictures for you because that's
Yeah.
something
was-
I wish I had. I probably will never have that. That's something that like I'm not gonna lie, I'm mad jealous over. I would love something like that. Because it takes two people, like you said, to make a damn baby, not just one.
It
So
really,
true.
it really does. Like both sides of the story are very important. I think a lot of people forget that. And just even having a little bit of information, just a little, it's helpful.
Apparently his name is
Absolutely.
Pablo, but I don't know how much I believe her. I feel like every Hispanic could be a Pablo. That's what she told me. Okay.
Yeah, it was super cool. When she sent me those, she even sent me pictures. Here, I'll show another one. So she sent me pictures of when she was holding me right after like birth, like not long after.
God.
And
So
so
she
I
got to hold
actually-
you?
Yeah, so she got to hold me for like
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
She had some complications in the delivery, and so it was kind of scary. She had to, she had some bleeding and all sorts of issues, but yeah, she ended up being okay. And then she was able to actually hold me and to like be with me for just a few days before my parents adopted me.
And I feel like that's unheard of back in like our age of adoptees. Like now it's super common, but like when we were all adopted, that was not common at all.
No, it was like baby
Mm-mm.
gone, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That is exactly what happened with me. One nurse said she'd like to hold her, and she said yes. Another nurse goes, she's not allowed to hold her, and boom, I was whisked away.
Oh, like hell.
Yeah,
that's so heartbreaking.
Like,
too.
Yeah, when she told me that, I started crying.
Oh man, yeah.
I can't even. The fact that she got to hold you, that's incredible, and that's absolutely beautiful that she had that moment, because that is
for sure
unheard of.
Yeah, it was really, it touched me a lot to know that like it's been 30 plus years since she touched me, held me, did anything like that, and to think that long went by and then we embraced like 30 plus years later was just so cool. And so I actually, because I received those as I was doing my last semester, I actually used some of those photos for my thesis. So I did large paintings of like those moments and stuff, and of each of I based it all, my thesis was nature versus nurture, with
so cool
because I had so many questions and all that had come like just into my life like that year. So I had questions of like, okay, what parts of me, what parts of my mind, what parts of when I think and stuff and just actions and everything, what part of that is nurture versus nature, what, same with art. Like, so this is the crazy part. So as I'm like learning more about my past and my birth family, I start learning more things that were just so crazy, like the California thing. So my okay, so to give you context, I went to Utah State University in 2014 to 2016, and I studied art while I was there. I did a study abroad, and so I was just all involved in the art scene there. And then I left that, went to work for a job for a while. And then when I was going back to school, when I met my birth mom, she told me that I actually come from a line of artists in my family, which was nuts. And then on top of that, so it's not only that I have artists in my family, like my biological grandmother, she's been teaching art for years. I think I saw that she taught like Cottonwood High School here for a while here in Utah. Yeah, she teaches private lessons now, and she's been developing a curriculum and whatnot. Well, then to go even further, her father was actually the head of the art department at Utah State in 1947. Isn't that nuts?
Holy
like the
cow.
Same school I attended for art, he had been the head of the art department overall.
Was his name on like anything there that like you saw? But obviously it was different, so you like didn't know. Was his name on anything?
I have no idea. I have to go back and like, I want to go back to the archives and search and go through and be like, what is this? That's just so crazy.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool. I actually inherited, well, I guess more like I was given, but my birth mom, she gave me some paintings of his, like some art that he actually did. And so to hold art that my great grandfather did and being an artist myself is just, it's crazy. It's just, it's weird and awesome and all the emotions. Yeah.
Like, seriously, what a cool feeling. Like, what a cool feeling to hold a painting and like you're an artist and you're looking at it, you're like, wow, like, God, I can't even just like imagine that. That is so cool.
Can I show you this vase really quick that he did? Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. I'm gonna grab it.
I was gonna say, why is that even a question? Of course.
Oh, Delancey. I just love you.
Can't help it. I get excited.
No, I think this is exactly why I don't tell you like when I bring guests on, because then it's like real and raw and you're like, whoa, I love it. Love it. I love it. I love it. I wonder if he painted
This
that in
is-
the background. I'll have to ask
That's
him.
what I'm
I did.
wondering.
Paint that in the
This is really cool.
background, Greg.
Okay,
that was
we-
me. That was a
We need to see that too, by the way.
all right.
He goes,
So-
okay.
So yeah, that's
He's amazing.
one I did when I was in college. I was studying hands and using it to like try and depict connection and how like hands can be such a form of like connecting and touch and feel in different ways and express so many different things. So
So
that
cool.
was the fun thing I did. So this is the painting. Let me show you this first. So this frame is rad, by the way. So
Oh,
isn't that
yeah.
amazing? So he
That
painted, to
is.
think that he painted that.
That's
is
so cool.
So crazy.
So cool.
That's
So-
insane. And that frame is amazing. It looks like
Yeah.
something you would see like in a like ship or something that you pull up out of the, out of the water, and you're like, this amazing thing.
Right?
Like Captain Jack Sparrow is like taking, yeah, I did Johnny Depp.
You and Johnny Depp, dude.
Love him.
They just need to freaking get the
So
verdict
good.
out.
Well, it's
I
not looking good
agree.
for Amber. All right.
Amber.
So then this is the one he did. Look at this.
Wow.
Right?
That's a vase?
Yeah. Is that
That's
not
cool.
Incredible.
Wow.
So it's
Holy
this like
cow.
she looks like she might be like a Polynesian type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
island.
She's
But-
almost like almost like a goddess to a certain extent, just because of the gold
Yeah.
lips and the gold
Mhm.
eyes. Like she's stunning.
Yeah.
That
it's
is so
it's
cool.
gorgeous. So yeah, like
That is so cool.
now I
Yeah,
have
that's
my
awesome.
great grandfather's art that I had
Seriously
no idea
though.
that all this art. So that was what really prompted a lot of these questions of like, holy crap, like what amount of my art interest is like natural and just comes through me genetically, and then what part of it has been just the environment that I've been in and then been
Exactly.
encouraged to make art. And so
Mhm.
it was a cool exploration of, wow, where does this all come from, and how does this work? And so yeah, it's been
That's
a
so
really
cool.
cool journey so far. And yeah,
Okay, I
Right.
have a really random question
Yeah.
for both of you. For both of you, just because you guys both talked about it. Both of you have met your biological mother in person and you have touched. This sounds so dirty. You've hugged her. Well, we won't say touched, we'll say hugged. Okay. But my question, because then you were talking about it with like your painting that you put in the background, and because I mean it's true. Like
That is true. And I keep getting distracted by the hands. I keep finding
I
different
feel-
like little hand holding.
I feel like I don't know. There's a different kind of emotion that will happen for me. I think that's half the reason it honestly scares the out of me. I won't say it. The F word's the only one I won't say on air, maybe off air, but not on air.
Proud
Like-
of you.
Is I just like the feeling. It feel like it's gonna be something, I don't know, maybe it's indescribable, because that's kind of how I feel like it's gonna be something that, but at the same time, like how Greg was talking, like she held him after birth, and then 30 plus years later, she got to technically hold him again. Like, really? Like, I don't know. What was that feeling like for you guys? Because that's something I have yet to experience.
well, for me, I'll
I was
say,
gonna say, you
yeah.
go first.
Okay. Yeah, for me,
You go first.
it was crazy. Like we embraced, and it felt, the hug itself felt like it was forever. It was such a long hug of like, oh my God, so much like love in this, like so much that I was
See,
feeling. Yeah. We
And
were
I'm
both
getting all the
bawling,
feels, like feeling about, like I seriously get all the feels just thinking about it. Like that's
Yeah.
just, oh, that's so awesome.
It's yeah, it was an amazing experience for me.
Okay, Delancey, did you freeze? Damn it. Where'd you go? Your
That
freaking
light looks
internet.
so
Okay,
good on
there
here,
you are.
though.
Okay, are you good? Are you there? Delancey. We can see you. Can you see me? Do I need to text you?
No, I can see you. My internet was messing up. Sorry. And then my microphone messed up. So I'm assuming you were talking to me. Yes. You said, do I need
your
to text
turn.
you? So I
Go.
figured you were talking to me.
Yeah. no,
Okay,
yeah.
my turn. Oh God. For me, it was kind of like, I mean, she had never held me, so I never had like, she never had that. I never had that.
Right. Damn it.
And you even hear
Okay,
like
there you
in
are.
the one without I was gonna be like, what?
You're good now. Just keep talking. It froze,
First.
but you're good. You're good.
Okay. It was like, you can hear in the video that I posted on my TikTok without the music. You can hear her say, after she hugs me and then she like pulls me in tighter. This is the first time I've ever held her. And of course you hear me ugly sobbing because that's just what I do in all situations. I just cry because that just seems to be the right reaction that I give. For me, even though I was like crying so hard and so embarrassingly loud, like very obnoxiously, it was calming having her hug me. It was like I had such an anxiety feeling about meeting her. We had never talked on the phone. We had only text messaged, we only Facebook messaged. I had seen her on Facebook. We had exchanged photos. Like I broke out in hives. That's how crazy anxious I was to meet her. And it was like the second I saw her, I was like freaking out. And then I round the corner to see her and I start sobbing and I'm just overwhelmed. And then she holds me and I just immediately just calm. Like not immediate, it took a couple seconds, but then it was like calm and it like the crying like subsided and it was kind of like she's real. It was one of those things of touching her made it real. It wasn't a fantasy anymore. It wasn't like, oh, this is cool and this is going to go bad. It was like, this is real. Like she's real. She's a good person and she's actually hugging me. And I love hugs. I'm a sucker for hugs. Like,
oh, me too. Another reason why we're such good friends. Hell yeah.
See, I'm telling you, I'm gonna hug you so big when I finally meet you. But like, I'm a sucker for hugs. Like, I love them, and especially if they're like that good hug. And she gives great hugs. So it was, I don't know. I think for me, it was like it was calming and it made it real. It made it a reality, even though I knew it was real, but it made it completely real at that time. So,
and this is something I want, because a lot of people that we do have listen are adoptive parents, like looking to adopt or have adopted. Like, I want you guys to know this takes nothing away from our parents. Like, it's just a different connection that you have being an adoptee to your biological family. But like, it doesn't take away from your parents, but it's also something that for me, kind of like Greg was talking, the older you get, like I yearn for it. I want it, because I'm old enough to handle it. Okay, I don't really know if I'm old enough to handle it because I keep pushing out going to Columbia because I'm so damn scared. But like, but you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take away that our parents were our parents. They raised us or are our parents. You know what I mean? That we mad love them. Yeah. But it's until you're an adoptee, it's not something that you understand. So that's why we're such huge advocates, is like when your kids do want to search, and it's different nowadays, but when they do want to search for their bio parents, support them, whether you agree with it or not, support them, because you're just going to make shit harder if you don't agree with them. And I've seen that way too many times, unfortunately. But open adoption is now, which is awesome. Anyway, sorry, what were you going to say, Delancey?
No, I was just going to say it does make it harder, and it ends up straining the relationship, and it ends up making things just super awkward. Like, come on, you've been supporting your kid in all their crazy endeavors before. You helped them make a lemonade stand when nobody was buying lemonade. Like, hello, just support them. Just be the supportive parent that you signed up to be when you brought them home.
Agreed.
It's not hard. Like, now you may know more about the situation than what they are aware of, and then that's on you because you weren't honest with them. So you need to be honest with them, and you need to support them, you need to encourage them, you need to love them. Just, it's called being a parent.
Turn it into a bedtime story. Like, I think that's the
I still
thing
love
ever.
that.
I love that so much.
Best thing ever. That's like, probably, your story is absolutely amazing. My favorite is the bedtime story, but it was a bedtime story.
Agreed.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I took us off on a tangent.
The coolest thing. No, you're good. Like, I think that, like, as I've watched my own birth mother and my adopted mother like go through these emotions, because there is that deeper connection with both of them, right? So you have like, I've watched as my adopted mom is so supportive and so loving, but there's also that feeling of like, well, also like a little fearful of losing him now to that. And I can totally understand that. And then same thing on my birth mother side, where it's like, well, I want him now, you know, like and so it's great though, because we're able to all, even though there are those feelings, we're able to like share all of things like Mother's
That's awesome.
Day and birthdays and holidays amongst
That's
all
awesome.
of us. So it's like
Yeah.
there's so much love to go around that
Yeah.
it's not it's not about, okay, now it's your turn, or now I get to take over, or now anything of this sort. It's like, no, now it's just expanded this circle larger of all this connection and ways that we can talk. My birth mom and my adopted mom at the stadium, they talked so much and were able to
Yeah.
have like so many discussions. And that, I think too, I don't think it's always like the best ideal situation for those two to get together, but like my situation worked out really well. So that way they both
you mean you
could.
okay I thought you meant like yours specifically, but okay, you
He's
mean
in
like,
general.
No.
Yeah, in
you
general.
mean in general. I was about to be like,
I think maybe the birth mom, the adopted mom, I mean, nowadays, I guess because it's open, it's a little bit, it's better. But like,
right.
yeah, coming from the 80s, it's definitely more like a, I never knew you, you never really knew us, you read our bio, that was kind of it. And
Right.
so, yeah, but to be able for them to both, like, I'm not there, I'm down on the field at that point, to have them be able to just have that space to sit next to each other and just talk and discuss, catch up. My adopted mom sharing stories from me growing up, and then my birth mother telling stories of like her background, and then also like her family and different things. And so I think that was something that was huge for both of them, to be able to connect and know like, oh, like he came from a wonderful mother, and then you raised my son that I gave birth to, and here he is now graduating and doing great, and like just so cool, both ends to meet like that,
That's how I feel. There's always room for love. That's what I'll always preface. There is, like, you can't have too many people in your life. Like, that's just how I feel. I mean, you don't want the shitty people in your life. Absolutely no. But like the good people, yeah. Sorry, Lance, what were you gonna say? Okay.
No, I completely agree with you. You're completely fine. I was gonna say, like, I almost feel like it's so in the situations where it can work out, it's kind of important, like you were just saying, like it's so important for them to be able to see, like, it's kind of like whenever I talk about Mother's Day or Father's Day, I always do it the same caption every year. Thank you to the woman that gave me life, and thank you to the woman who taught me how to live it. Thank you to the man who gave me life. Thank you to the man who taught me how to live it. Like, I think it's important for them to connect at some point so they can both see, like, hey, I appreciate the gift you gave me. This is what I did. And this is, I hope I can like show you he or she had a great life, like kind of like a reassurance type deal in a way. It doesn't always work out like that, but if they can meet and it works out like that.
Right. No, and I get the emotion part, like Greg was talking about. I mean, hell, we're humans. There's jealousy, there's all those kind of things. And then when you put a kid in the mix of that shit, and there's two moms involved, I wholeheartedly get that, because I had that with my mom when I wanted to search out my bio mom and I found her. Gradually, it's been good. We've healed, but like, she gets it that I'm no way in hell gonna run off to Colombia. Like, are you shitting me? No, like, no. But you know what I mean? Like, it's been good and it's healing, and I've had to understand her point of view, even, it can get messy. Anyway, this is not about me. This is Greg's story.
Right. No, well, I mean, it's true, but I can also go with that too, because it's not always the moms and the grandmothers and the females in our lives who raised us. Sometimes it's on the biological side that can feel a particular kind of way. I've experienced that on my biological dad's side with some of his female relatives feeling some kind of way about me being adopted in general. And so those emotions can be there. It's unfortunate that with women, biologically and naturally, we are driven by emotion. Case in point here, I cry all the time. So it's not exactly the greatest thing in the world, because it can create problems. So I get what he's saying completely too. Like, it's annoying.
Because girls are crazy. Let's just be real.
Girl, we crazy. We are crazy. Somebody's going to say something. We're going to end up getting canceled. Amazing. Awesome. We just said girls are crazy. We're going to get canceled for it. Wonderful. We're just kidding, ladies. We love you. Even though we know we all crazy.
Whatever. The people that follow this and follow us on Instagram know exactly how we are, and they know.
Absolutely.
They know
Facts. Very true.
Anyway, okay. Sorry, tangent.
So bad about that. Sorry, Greg.
It's just how we roll. It's just how we roll.
No, you guys are great.
It is.
No, Oh, okay. Anyway, so I just can't with you. Damn it, you made me lose my train of thought. Delancey, you're over there laughing. What was I gonna ask you?
Hey, it's
There was
either I'm
something I was
laughing or
gonna-
I'm crying. One of the two. Let's go with laughing today.
Very true. Very, very true. I was gonna ask, how does your sister feel about all this? I mean, I'm not asking to get into her story, but like, has she gone on her own adventure? Like, does she because I know one thing I've noticed is like families that do adopt that have multiple kids, like every situation's different. Like, unfortunately, some don't turn out as good as others. Like, I know I can think of one in particular right now where it's,
Yeah, that's pretty much, I think, how her situation is that it wasn't the greatest. I think she found out some more about her own birth mother, and I think it was a harder situation. And so yeah, it's something that my story is super cool and super unique, and it's like the most positive outcome that can possibly be, like,
right.
of any adoption story. And so it's hard because I don't necessarily want to, like, when I'm sharing things or I'm talking about things, I don't want to like build it to be this big thing of like making her feel like, oh, well, my
That makes sense.
situation. So I try to be
Yeah.
a little bit more thoughtful in how I say things and how I go about things. Cause yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough when that could have very well been my situation, that
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So I try to think of how I would have felt finding that out and being like, and I'm even more grateful for it than what I have now and what
Right.
happened and the adoption. And yeah, I think it's so important to find out your adoption story. I mean, if it is bad, at least you find out.
Mhm.
If it's
Right.
good, then great, all the better. But yeah,
Right.
to just have that little bit of closure for yourself too as an adoptee,
Yeah.
to be able to find out. I think that's a big thing. And that's why I think that there are steps to take. Like, I was really happy with how I went about it. I like that I explored a little bit more of like using 23andMe or Ancestry to try and find out a little bit more about my past or who I am, what I'm made of, and that just opened doors just right away. It's just really cool.
Why are you making a face?
When he said what I'm made of, I was listening. I but the way that my brain works, and he's talking about 23andMe, and I'm like, and I'm listening, and I do know somebody else who is doing essentially the same steps that you did, Greg. And then you said what I'm made of, and for some reason my brain went straight to Legos. I don't know why.
I think it showed like a 0.02% of Lego when I stepped on some when I was younger. Just absorbed into my body.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Well, that's the crazy
Really
thing
have no
nowadays too,
idea.
is the
Yeah.
resources people have. Like,
Yeah.
that boggles
Mhm.
my mind. Like,
Well, it's so much easier now because of all of those resources. You have
Mhm.
resources
Right.
that you can use that don't require you going through like a court system or
Yes.
an agency or all that stuff that we had to.
Yeah.
Well, you had to do, Melina, because I refused. But all the stuff you had to go through.
I didn't pay anybody shit, man. Luckily, I got lucky, and God how somehow made it. Like, this girl just went to work. You actually know her, Greg. Like, and she just went to work, and found
That's
everything.
awesome.
She's like a dope super sleuth, and yeah.
But like, what's
Amazing.
interesting though? All three of us went through, like, we were all adopted in the 80s, clearly. We all three of us went through different ways that did not involve petitioning a court
Yeah.
or something to get our information. That just goes to show that there's other ways to do it outside of the super really difficult jump through every like flaming hoop way. Like, there's other resources now. It may take a little longer, but
Exactly.
there's other resources.
So many people told me to hire a damn private eye. I'm like, dude, I ain't shoveling out $20,000. Like, it's important to me, but that's probably really selfish. It ain't that important to me. Like, come on now. Like,
It's important, not that important. So sorry. Like, I mean, if you think about it, when people start putting dollar amounts on things, you decide very quickly how important
it's
something
true.
truly is to you.
It's true.
$20,000,
No, it's so true.
there's not that much that's not important to me. It's just not. I can't think of
The peop-
anything right now.
The people that were telling me to do this were I don't even know, from Colombia, and so I'm kind of like, you just want money, so no, yeah.
Oh, were they reaching out to you, being like, "Give me that
No,
coin, I'll find your bio mom"?
I reached out to them because they were the lawyers involved with everything.
And then they
Yeah.
said, "Give me that coin, and I'll find your bio mom."
They're like, I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
absolutely not.
Yikes.
Absolutely
Okay.
not.
Sorry. Anyway, tangent again.
You're so bad about that.
How we roll.
No, I love it. I love it.
Okay, so 23andMe clearly is a really good resource to go through, essentially,
Yeah.
to find out information. I still can't believe you found your bio grandmother on there. That's still so
That's
wild
crazy.
to me. Because could you imagine from her perspective? Did you ever ask her like what she thought when she reached out to you and she started asking you those questions? Like, what was going through her?
She had an inkling. Like, she was like, this is like way too like everything's way too perfectly aligned for this to not be. So here, okay, I'm gonna give you another crazy story. So
yeah, please.
Yes, please.
So I told you how recently that I've been doing these set design and art direction for some commercials. Well, this all started because I got commissioned to make this like tree. I don't want to go to super depth, but you can look at my Instagram if you want to, and you can see it, Greg Sanderson art.
Tree.
But
we're all pulling our phones out.
Let me back this up. So a guy I went to school with when I went back to school at Weaver State, he was in one of my classes and he does some like stuff for different filming and commercials and feature films and stuff. And so he hit me up with this opportunity where he's like, hey, I'm working on this commercial and this guy has or the director has a need of someone who can create a fake tree carving in a tree for this commercial, like, because we can't actually carve into the tree, but we need to like make it look like it is. So I was like, okay. I mean, luckily I've done so many different art styles and projects and mediums that I'm like, okay, I think I could do this. And so I got hired to do that. And it turned out so well that they hired me to actually do the commercial. We'll get this. The commercial is for ancestry.com.
What?
Right?
Stop it.
So that's another connecting piece that all of a sudden the site that I met my bio grandmother on is also what I was ending up doing. Setting up a commercial for. What? So it was, super cool.
Did you share that with them? Did you tell them that? Like, oh my God, let me tell you my connection to this. Right? I feel like if you didn't miss opportunity, like you definitely need to like write them and tell them like, no, that is so cool.
I told this story all the time on set and stuff when we were doing it. I was just like, yeah, it's crazy that I'm working on something for Ancestry. And I have like
art at Harmon's.
Yeah, I do. I'm an artist at Harmon's. That's my full-time job.
What?
Yeah.
I'm in there all the time. Now I'm going to go around snapping pictures, doing Instagram stories.
I was about to say, inquiring minds that are not in Utah.
Oh, it's a grocery store. It's a grocery store. Sorry.
Is it like one of those like boutique type grocery stores? Because I love those.
Kind of, yeah. So think of the art that you see at Trader Joe's. Like, okay, right? Okay. You see those big signs and stuff. So I do that for the Roy store. So I just do it for one location. And yeah, it's a great gig. And yeah, it is like
Harmon's that's all your handwriting
place. Yeah. So I measured that out.
Perfection.
You wrote that? Like you wrote that.
I based it loosely off a font and then just measured out everything. It's a lot of measuring when it comes to those things, but it's really cool. Yeah, to be doing art, to like be carrying on the torch, I guess. Like,
I was about to say, it's your birthright, literally.
Right? I know.
Seriously. Literally. That's so nuts. Cool.
I know.
Yeah. I've had a lot of really cool opportunities in the last few years and a lot of cool stories.
Nacho Libre.
Yeah.
Salsa. Dude, I didn't know that. Next time I go in. Okay. Yeah, it's just
Yep.
a small little grocery store here.
I was gonna say, Melena,
I
the
got
next
side-
time you go in, I'm gonna need you to take pictures and text them to me. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate
will.
it.
I will for sure. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, Melina, I'm at the Roy location. So if you ever go and you see art, make sure it's
Why
the-
not Station Park? What the hell? They need to
I
hit you up on that
wish.
one too.
Artist there is so good. I know. I would love to live or to do it like at somewhere with a newer store. So my store is on deck for one of those updates. So it's like Harmon's is a really nice. It does have like a boutique section. Did I say that
It's a
right? That
nicer
sounds
grocery
really
store.
weird. But
Yeah, like
yeah.
that's what I think of. Like I
It's-
correlate it with
it's-
like a Harris Teeter, or like down here it's like Corner Market. Corner Market. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the nicer grocery store. It's like a nice little.
It is for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
everyone there's happy to work there because it's a nice grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly it. Mhm.
Yeah. Not like the chains that we have here. Yeah. Exactly.
Ew.
What's so disgusted?
Because they're so.
And we
You're
ain't no
so
Kroger
funny.
brand.
Do you have Kroger brand out there?
We do not have a Kroger here in the little Mississippieville where I live. But we do have a Walmart and we have a Sam's. I do like Sam's though. Sam's is fun.
Club?
I
Or is
yes,
that-
we have a Sam's Club. Sam's
I love
Club.
Sam's Club.
Sounds
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, where I lived in Alabama, we had Costco. I don't even know where the closest Kroger is, actually, now I think about it. Nope, no clue. I don't know if we have one here.
We got lots here. Yeah, we got lots. Okay. Anyway, besides the fact,
Tangent again. Sorry, we do squirrel moments a lot.
It's fine. I love discussing grocery.
are you going?
It's my job.
So will you be eventually? Okay, I'm not gonna say anything. Well, I'm gonna say he's like doing this cool secret project right now, like really cool. Will you be sharing that stuff on your art page too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as it's published. So I've done a few, and yeah, it's last I saw it, the edit was like pretty much finalized and just being sent through the system to be able to like be approved of on all ends and stuff. And then
Cool.
it'll show up everywhere from social media to like on TV to just
Oh my
wherever that you'll
gosh.
see. So if we say
That's so
Kodiak
cool.
cakes a lot,
Okay.
then it'll show up on your feed. So just say it a lot around your phone and devices, and you'll start
Everybody
seeing it
listen to
more,
this,
right?
listen to this podcast, and then you'll see it.
That's
Right? Listen to the podcast.
That's so
Right.
cool. And there-
Okay, so
Oh.
how much longer? Like you said, it's in the final like stages.
Mm-hmm.
Like an estimation of time period before we find out the super secret of the super secret.
I want to say it's going to be in June. So it'll be within the next like few weeks. So
Okay.
yeah.
I can
And then-
do that. I can do that. Okay.
yeah. So I can say that I worked with a celebrity and I think he's like, this is a guess, 800-pound grizzly bear. Yeah. Not person, grizzly bear, but you know.
I thought you were to say. I was wondering, like, what celebrity is 800 pounds?
What if I
No,
said something
but-
like boring like a truck? An 800-pound truck. Cool.
You guys don't know what Kodiak cakes are. I'm pretty sure they were like founded in Utah, right?
Yeah, they're located in Park City. That's where their
Yeah.
headquarters is at. So
So like Delance
cool.
even knew who they were. So like I know they're
Yeah.
getting pretty
they're-
big, but they like
they're
do all
big,
like
yeah.
the protein pancake waffles, the
Absolutely.
crackers, the
I was gonna
cookies. I
say,
love all their
mhm.
stuff. I love it all. Like
If you
some of my
are
favorite.
if you are a bodybuilder or a power lifter, you know what Kodiak is. Period. In story.
Mhm,
Because your
mhm.
coach writes it into your diet. It's your treat. It is your
Yep.
treat.
Delicious.
It's your like. It's your. Oh my god, they're so good.
They're so
And-
good.
And
delicious.
I just did, so the one I recently just did is for these new ones that are coming out with, specifically
Flavors?
targeted like towards kids and stuff, but they're mini waffles. So it's like 4 waffles and they're like amazing. The
Oh my
taste, the
gosh.
smell, like you just pop them in the toaster. So yeah, you can
Did
get
you just
some of
eat
those
the whole
too.
time? That's all I would have done. Like
I end up going home with like boxes and samples
That's
and
so
all sorts of
cool.
stuff. It's great.
That's
I live off
awesome.
of Kodiak right now.
Oh,
That would
my
be
favorite
so
are the like,
amazing.
what are they? Muffins in the cups?
The little
Those are
muffin
my
cups?
favorite. Yes, that
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
zap. Those are so
Yes.
damn
Oh
good.
my God, they're
Mm,
so good. They're so
I love them.
delicious.
Yeah.
I
And that
it-
one,
oh, so
I did a commercial for them doing like the cups. Like we specifically targeted. It was for the cups, and
Oh my
that's a really
gosh.
fun one.
Yay.
That's a good one. So
I'm
that one
excited.
should be soon too. It's just it's so weird how like on the back end of things, like you don't realize how long things take to get through
Right.
to actually
Mhm.
Right.
be hitting
Yeah.
your TV and stuff. So
No, that's so cool.
But-
Well, yeah, I don't think. Oh, yep. No, I don't. Now I'm following your art page, and as soon as that shit pops up, it will be all over my social media because I think that's so cool.
Same.
Well,
Like,
thanks.
Same.
seriously. Then we can
Yeah.
be like, oh, look, all these people we have that are friends that are with celebrity friends. Like,
It's like we're friends with them that are friends with celebrities. We're cool by association.
You're like, what's that game? It's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, or like 2
Mhm.
yeah,
Kevin Bacon.
Mhm.
type thing, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
We're getting closer to Kevin Bacon. Do you realize that?
You are. We're probably you guys are probably 4 steps away now through me, through the celebrity, through like
I'm
one
so
of his
excited.
friends that knows Kevin.
That's
So
so
excited.
funny.
Kevin and I have so much to talk about, like, you know, his starring role as Valentine in Tremors. Yes, I said it.
Such a great movie.
Talking about, thank you. Okay, sorry.
Yes, I love that movie.
Such a good movie. It's one of my favorites.
Yes.
Delancey really wanted it to be Johnny Depp because of all the shit that's
God,
going on
I
right now.
do. Oh, and
I wanted it to be. That would have been amazing.
Because we were
Greg's like,
trying to
"Me
guess.
too."
We were trying to guess before we went live on who Greg
We
met.
really
and he kept
were.
saying no, no, no. And so
no.
we just have to wait to find out because he what's
Mhm.
it called? Is it an NDA, non-disclosure
NDA.
agreement that that you have to sign?
Oh
that you
yeah.
can't talk?
Oh,
Yep.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about you signing an NDA, so I guess I have to be respectful of that, even though that's dumb. But
It's okay.
so I'm
So
upset
funny.
it's not. I'm upset it's not Johnny Depp and it's not Jeremy Renner. Who, by the way, everyone that listens to us, Milena goes, "Ah, that's an A-lister." Rude.
Okay, let's be real. He is my
Rude.
least, like, not one of my favorite Avengers. I'm all about Robert Downey Jr., dude. Like, and I am hardcore Marvel, but Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Hemsworth, bring them my way. Ben calls Chris Hemsworth my boyfriend anytime he's on a movie or anything because
Milena,
Not-
you're going a little basic here. You,
Thank
you're chasing.
you.
You're chasing. Yeah. I think
you.
Jeremy Renner is the underdog in that. That
He
dude.
absolutely is. He
His-
does not receive the respect he deserves. I
did
know.
you
have
watch
a
Hawkeye?
family?
Hawkeye was really good. Hawkeye was
Yes!
really good. It was really
Hawkeye
good.
was
Oh, it
great.
was amazing. But I mean,
Yeah.
Greg makes a point. He has a family. He made sure to respect giving them quality time while he's saving the planet. And he's funny. He's funny.
That's true. Okay, that's true. And he did turn into a badass. I would have done the same thing if my whole family disappeared. You know what I mean? Like on a rampage. Okay, besides the fact, let's get back to adoption talk now that we're talking about Marvel.
I'm doing a Thor, by the way. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing a Thor sign right now for the store. I've been working on one. So I'll be showing
you
that one
just-
soon. It's almost done.
Yes.
I think you just broke her. Like, did you see that face she just made?
I was like, is he the secret celebrity? Because if he is, oh hell boy, you better tell me because my ass will
Can
be
you
on Park City like
imagine?
that fast.
Yeah. Standing next to him. You want more pancakes?
Do you want more pancakes?
They have
Gosh, your
protein in
bicep
them.
is huge. Like the
That's-
size of my head.
That's like
He's
what I was talking
massive.
to. Was his
Yeah.
bicep. I was just like, hey, you want some more pancakes?
I love it. That's so funny. That's so funny. Well, I'm trying to think of anything that you highlighted on or anything that like you would share. Like the highlights I took away is the way that your parents told you
Mhm.
your adoption story and how you are with like in agreement with us is like how everybody needs to find out their background. Whether
Mhm.
it's going to turn out good or not, you need to know where you come from. That's something I'm a huge advocate for, especially with adoptees,
Mhm.
because I feel everybody has the right to know where they come from. But any
Learning where-
other
Yeah.
words of wisdom that you'd have for adoptees or
Yeah, I
Sylvie
think like
Delancey.
learning where you come from helps you just establish more of where you are and like gives you It isn't necessarily gonna propel you where you're gonna go, but it helps you establish where you are and where you want to go. And like
Yeah.
you can have a better idea of not only like, we don't all of us adoptees aren't going to find out maybe all the information about our biological background or whatever. We might not all have that ability, but learning even just the little things, like me just learning my like ethnic like DNA, what I'm made of, was like so fascinating to be like, oh, that makes sense. This is really cool. This is why I have some of these features, and like I'm a straight up mutt, which I love. And so it's really cool to find out like all this stuff. And so then I found out that I had 12% Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain and Portugal.
Wow.
And then in 2018, so I'd already found that out. And then in 2018, I went to Spain and ran with the bulls. And
Yes,
I
you did. I remember
like,
that. Yeah, I remember
was
that.
able to, I felt like so many people looked like me, because in Spain, they have a lot more like paler skin. They have like some of the darker hair, and like it was just interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like all my features are Spanish, but I'm just saying to see people who actually had like similar things, and then to like explore that land with a whole new mindset of like,
right,
oh whoa, I'm actually, part of me comes from this place, was even
That's
a further
awesome.
in depth, not tied fully with the adoption, but yeah, it does go in hand with it a little bit.
But I love that like you pointed that out, because like even people in their own biological families, who doesn't want to know what their background, who doesn't want to know where they came from? If they're like some percent, as I spit, that was Irish, like how cool would that be to go to Ireland? You know what I mean? If you're like, you find out you're like 50% Irish and then you go there, you know what I mean? Like,
it takes on
that?
It takes on a whole different meaning, a whole different experience.
Exactly. Well, and who doesn't want to hear like little stories about their background and like about their family and like different things like that? And like you said, like you get to, once you hear them and you get to learn more, you get to go visit, like you have a whole different perspective of what was the foundation to make you who you are.
Exactly.
I love that he said that. He goes, it may not, but when you said it may not propel you, but it'll help establish where you are. I love that. Like, I don't know if you saw my face, but I was like, yes. Like, absolutely. That's 100% accurate. I love that. Okay.
I should say, if y'all are like not only listening to our podcast, you got to go pop over to YouTube, because Delancey has some of the best. And that's she's mad at me for a clip that I posted today. No, I wouldn't say mad, but like it's because she gives the best facial expressions. She gives like the oh shit moments that people are like, what? So yeah, anyway, okay.
It's true. Your expressions when I'm telling my story, we're like, oh, I'm telling a good story. Like, oh, it's hitting good. Like, okay, thank you.
That's why.
So good.
It's awesome. What advice, because I love adoptees giving advice for parents who are looking to adopt. What advice would you give to parents that are looking to adopt? I mean, I know it's really different now with open adoption, but stuff for your adoptee, what would you say?
To adoptive parents that are prospectively looking.
Yes. Yeah.
Prospectively looking.
Or already have adoptees.
Or have adopted
either
kids.
Or. Yeah. Because we have a lot of people that follow that have already adopted. They like to pick our brain to make sure they're doing things right for their adoptee, if that makes sense.
So here's something that I've thought about a lot with the nature versus nurture, is that some of my interests, now that I've met my biological side, they overlap into like their lives as well. So it's kind of, how do I explain this? My adopted parents and I think, well, let me say this first, that you can be a biological family and not have anything in common. Like that can be normal, right?
Amen to that. Amen to that.
I was going to say, if you can't see, I'm doing the deaf hand clap right here.
Yeah. But I think that since I've learned about my own interests and like finding out the art thing too and stuff, one of the things that I thought about was my adopted parents showed a lot of encouragement in me going after the things that I wanted, like art, for example. I had this interest in it ever since I was like 4 years old. I was drawing
Yeah.
a little bit more complicated drawings than that they noticed. And they're like, hey, let's give him art supplies. Let's take him to some art classes and things. And so I would say from my own experience of that, like step back and don't like force on things that maybe you feel that you would love your child to be doing because you loved it when you were a kid. Having that element of adoption in there means that they have a whole nother level of like maybe biological interests that they don't even know yet, or natural abilities and stuff that they haven't tried out yet. And so yeah, encourage them and support them in whatever it is that they're doing, even if it's so totally different from whatever it is that your family has always done, or this or that, you know. I don't know
No,
if that
I
makes
love that.
sense,
And
but
no,
yeah.
No, it
that
does.
goes for
That
every
makes
parent.
total sense.
Like every
Mhm.
parent. I don't care if you're adopted or not. You don't be pushing your
Mhm.
shit on them. Maybe you wanted to be a doctor, shit didn't work out. Don't push it on your kid. If they want to go
Yeah.
be a freaking, I don't even know, like
Yeah.
groupie, like Kay, don't push it
Yeah.
on your
Live,
kid. Like let
don't
them
live through your
explore,
kid.
because then they become the best human that they can be. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? If you're not like, that's how I feel. Don't throw all that shit
Mhm.
down. I was like,
I
go on
completely
a
agree.
tangent because I thought my parents were so good about that. Like they always wanted to support and do things.
Mhm.
Even when it comes to religion, my parents never forced it on me. And here in Utah, it's huge. Like, but they never forced it on me because, like, when I was a teenager, I didn't go to church for quite a while. My dad always invited, but never was like, get your ass to church. It was always, so I will never push religion on my kids. Does that make sense? Like, we go to
Mhm.
church and do the things, but if something were to happen, I would be like, you're going to go to hell. Oh my gosh. Like, I would never. It's just like, gotta let your kids do what they're gonna do. And the most you can ask for is, you know, you love them and that they're kind freaking humans. That's all I want for
Right.
my kids, is to be kind
Right.
people and to love one another. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I feel
No, I
like
mean,
any parent should be like that.
well, yeah. And I mean, at some point in time, your kids, I mean, don't live through them. Like, don't do that. Like, I see some moms, like, even now, there are some people that I know that just, it's almost like they're living through them. It's like, please stop. Please
Right.
just stop. Like, your kid is really not enjoying this, whatever activity it is. Like,
Yes.
they're genuinely not enjoying it. Like, you can see it on their face. Like, yes, they're talented, but their passion isn't there anymore. Yours is. Like,
Yeah.
just let it move on. And if they're gonna mess up, they're gonna mess up. Let them fall on their face and then dust them off and say, you good? Cool.
Yeah.
Let's move it on. Like, it's
Agreed.
not, it just, God, I really hope that biological and people who adopt listen to that, because that's everything
Right.
we just said. Just love your kids. God bless. Just love them.
Yeah. Seriously.
Because that's, yeah, no matter what they, you know, difference in like how your appearance looks to them or
Mhm.
not, they're your kid. Like,
Yeah.
and wherever they came from, they're your kid. Like, you are
Mhm.
the parent of them. And I
Yeah.
think also parents being open with their kids, as open as they can be about even like their feelings towards adoption, or about the adoption, or how, like when
Oh, I
my
love that.
my adopted mom shared with me for so many years my bedtime story of like,
Delightsy.
I was heartbroken. I was going through so much, like I wanted a child so badly for so long. And so like her sharing those meant even more when she shared that, like, yeah, and then we were able to adopt you. And that made my whole world. Like, that was huge to me. Even as a little kid, I understood how powerful her
See,
being vulnerable to me was.
oh, and I
Mhm.
love that because we've had a lot of people, and I don't know if Delancey has, I have a lot of people that have clapped back and be like, well, I don't want to tell my kid they're adopted because then they're going to hate me and be like, well, you never wanted me anyway because you couldn't have your own kids. But like right there, guys, proof, an adoptee was
Mhm.
like known that he was adopted and he knew it
Mhm.
was all like an amazing thing. Like when you're open and honest with people, you're going to receive that love back. If you're a lying
Mhm.
asshole, they're going to hate you and build up walls. Plain and simple. Like seriously, it just is what it is. Like, just be
I mean, it's
honest, even if
facts.
it's hard. Be honest. Like,
I mean, honesty is always the best policy. Down with it. I mean, just if the truth's going to come out one way or another, they're gonna
essentially,
find out at
Yeah.
some point in time. They will find out, and it's up to
right?
you as to how they find out and how it's going to result. Because if they find out later
Exactly.
in life, I mean, Melanie, you and I have talked about this. I know, because I know me. If I had found out later in life that I was adopted instead of understanding it my whole life, it would have been very bad. Just, I wouldn't even say hard. I would say very bad, like very bad. Like
Because
yeah,
you're gonna hold that against your parents for not telling you,
100%.
right?
Exactly.
Like you're gonna be like, any trust
Exactly.
is gonna be broken
It's gonna be gone
for a lot of things, not just that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Not just that. Exactly what you said. If you do that, then it just so much shit comes behind it. Is so true. It's so true.
It would destroy your whole entire relationship, because your whole entire relationship was based on a lie.
Exactly.
The whole thing, and like everything that came from it. I couldn't imagine that. So yeah, I mean, I really hope people listen to that it's
and
very
I've seen
important.
that from
Open and
adult
honest.
adoptees, like the ones that you see
Mhm.
on that are so
That are
pissed
so
off.
angry.
And I get
So
why they're angry, because it's like, if you withheld this from
Yeah.
me, I get why you're angry. Sometimes I'm like, shut the door. I don't want to see your anger because you're just so negative, but I get it. I get where they're coming from. And I know it's a lot easier to not tell when you look the same. Like, if I never knew I was adopted, I would be like, are you really that much of a dumbass, Melina? Because like, my family's white. I'm the only brown person in my family. Like,
Mom went
come on
tanning
now.
for too long.
For too long.
Or she slept with the mailman. Like, I'd be like,
or that.
who's my dad?
I mean, we were going with
That's
tanning
not my
bed. You
dad.
went with mailman, but
who's my dad?
You just
That's
threw
not
your
my dad.
mom under the bus. But it's fine.
You pretty much did.
No, I can say that because she would always tell people that. They're like,
Okay.
like they'd have like snide, what do you call it? Snide ass remarks
comments?
to her. Yeah.
Yes.
And she'd be like, oh, I slept with the mailman. And they'd be like, because all the rest were like blonde, blue-eyed little babies. And they're like, okay. And back in the 80s, it was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? So
yeah, because there were still milkmen.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I love how Greg just said that so matter of factly. Yeah,
because it's true. It's so true. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Delancey, do you have any more questions or anything for Greg before we wrap this sucker up? No, this one was really fun. This one was
good.
Like, I know we went off a lot, but like, when you think about it, everything we go off on comes back to adoption. Okay, maybe not the Avengers, let's be real, but you know what I mean? Everything comes back to what we're talking about. You know what I mean?
It comes back because his best friend was adopted. I mean, granted by a Russian spy agency, but still, she was adopted.
Oh, Natasha.
Nah.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you've seen Black Widow. Okay, look, there you go. Delancey tied
You're
it all in.
welcome. You're welcome.
But really, we always, somehow it always intertwines with adoption, because being an adoptee doesn't define 100% who we are. It's a part of us, but there's so much more that we're all just like, I didn't want to say normal humans because nobody's a normal human, but you know what I mean? People that just a person. You're just a person like the rest of the damn world, and we all go through
It's
the
just
same shit.
it's a piece of our puzzle.
Exactly.
It's a piece of our puzzle that makes us into the beautiful human beings that we are.
Look at that. I love that. Greg, do you have any closing things that you want to say? Thank you so much for coming and being on this wild ride. That's me and Delancey.
No, I've loved it. You guys are so great. No, I had a great time. This is awesome. I love what you guys are doing. I think that you know, just like adoption has become so open with like the process. I think it's great that we can talk about adoption in such an open way now, especially us coming from the 80s. Like having this also brings a lot of closure, also brings a lot of like, like anybody who's listening, this is going to help you with maybe some questions that you had, or like you're sitting on the fence about looking into more, like, what if I find out that it's bad? Well, you find out that's bad. So what?
Exactly.
Then you find out, well, I've gotten to a better situation.
Exactly.
And I'm grateful for it.
Amen.
You know?
Amen to that.
That's my favorite thing about this is you've got three people who right here, like there's always somebody in the world that is going to relate to you. Like we and all can relate to each other, and our stories are all so incredibly different. But like that's like the best thing about this. And I love that. I love that. That's exactly what we had somebody on who was foster, he said the exact same thing. It's
Mhm.
okay to acknowledge the hurt and be upset, but do
Mhm.
not sit in that because it will rule your freaking life. That's what Corey said when we had him on last week.
You
I
can't
love it.
live in it. Exactly. You cannot live in the negativity and the negative feelings. It's not good for your health. Like in the end, it's just not good for your health to be like living in that negative space. It's just not. Like, yes, feel it. Be angry. You want to be sporadically angry. Fine, whatever. But don't live there. It's just not healthy. Just don't do it.
And nobody wants to be your friend. Let's be real.
Oh,
I don't wanna be
absolutely
around
not.
angry ass people.
Absolutely not. Me either. I don't like it.
Fun people that swear and joke.
Mhm.
That's what I'm all about. Except Delancey won't swear on the air because she's so good. Anyway, it's
Absolutely
fine.
not. Absolutely not. I will not. Absolutely not. I think I have a couple times and I've apologized before I even did it.
She does before she does it. Okay, I'm gonna swear, so I'm gonna apologize. Where me, I'm just don't
about
give
to
a
say
shit and it
something.
comes out.
I'm over here. I apologize. I am so sorry. I'm about to use really bad language, and here it is. And it's like one of the like lowest forms of foul language, probably. But
Like
still.
hell. Yeah.
She like
it was
whispers
like-
beaver before she says damn.
I should start
So
doing
true.
that.
I know. Now she will. Now she
Now I will. Now I will. Now I will. I'm gonna whisper it into my mic and then say the second word. I didn't even.
You got to get creative, Delancey.
I do. I'm gonna get creative now. You have inspired me to get creative on this, so I will do that.
Got you.
Anyway, okay. You guys will all also hear in the closing notes, but always thank you for listening to us. We so appreciate it. Like, thanks for being here for this crazy ride. That's me and Delancey, and then our guests that come on. We so appreciate it, and we're in it for the long haul because we absolutely love what we do and the people that we get to rub shoulders with. Hopefully, Greg's got a really cool celebrity that we're gonna rub shoulders with. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But seriously,
Maybe they're adopted.
oh, then you have connections to get them on our podcast.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh, that would
anyway.
be so cool. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
We could talk for another million years, but anyway, okay. Seriously though, thanks guys for listening, and we so appreciate that you guys are here with us.